Hello there, and welcome to another live stream from Change, Tips and Tools. I had a bit of an echo there in the background there. I was going to say, here I am, a marked improvement on the previous live streams where we walk through how to build a project plan from scratch, fully resourced, and this is a continuation of that live stream. And I was going to say no technical difficulties this time because last time I started about 15 minutes late because I couldn't get the live stream to start. But as they say, every day is a school day, and I truly believe in that, even at my age. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to manage multiple projects in one place using the master schedule and resource pool functionality of MS Project. And there's no need for any expensive PPM tools or online project online, Project Professional. All you need to be able to follow along is download the file, and there's a link in the description of that project file. So download it so you can follow along, and all you need is MS Project 2016 or later standard, and you can follow. So without further ado, let's do this. So what you can see here in front of you is that project file that we created in the last set of live streams that we did. Now the changes that I've made on this is I've just labeled the task to be more meaningful, and it always shocks me when I see people where fundamentally they don't name those tasks properly within their project plan. They don't realize that this thing has got to be aggregated and be meaningful at a program level. So it's always good practice to give your tasks the appropriate naming conventions. So here I've put build computer aid because this is our computer aid build project, and I've named all the tasks accordingly. So that's the first thing. Now the second thing is that we used this when we were doing building a plan from scratch. I don't need the WBS column, so I'm going to right click on it on WBS and click hide column. Yeah. Then what I'm going to do is, and let's just make that screen a little bit bigger so you can see what's going on, is I need to change the properties on this. So I'm going to go to File, Information. I'm going to go to the project information here and do Advanced Properties. And here where I've got Build a New Computer, I'm just going to change that. So when we pull it into our master schedule view, it has a meaningful name. So this is going to be Computer A Project. And I'm going to click OK. And that'll make more sense me doing that when you see me create that integrated program plan. I'm then going to go back to here, and I'm just going to keep saving. So always remember, there's no auto save here on MS Project, so I'm going to save it. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the project ribbon, do project information, and on this particular project I'm going to set the priority to 500, and this will become clearer when we look at the leveling functionality of MS Project. So that's something we're going to do a bit later when we've created our IPP. How do we level our resources across multiple projects? And I think it's really important to understand that you can never replace the expertise and knowledge of the SMEs, the project team, and the project manager on this. But project can help with its leveling functionality. And this is where the priority number. So fundamentally, the higher the number, the higher the priority. 1,000, if you put 1,000 in here, it means project won't touch it as far as leveling is concerned. And then 0 being the lowest level of priority. So we're going to set it to 500 here as a priority. I'm also going to set the project start date to be the 14th of July. So I'm going to set the start date to the 14th of July. So I'm happy with all that, and I'm going to click OK. And again, you see things have moved here for me. And again, on the view, I'm just going to do view and do entire project so I can see everything here in the Gantt view. Right, so now that I've done that and I've set the priorities, is the next thing that I want to do is I need to create some custom fields. So you can create multiple custom fields in MS Project. So there's two we're going to create here. One's going to indicate, well, what project it is, and the second is the level of milestone. So again, remember, when you're aggregating information into a program plan, sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees, and your stakeholders are not going to want to see every single level of detail. They're going to want to see specific milestones. So in this case, we're going to tag our program level milestones accordingly, and also in the same breath identify those which are project level that the project manager might want to track, and also which are not milestones at all, so we can just keep them out and stop that noise, i.e. you can't see the wood for the trees, and prevent that. So the first custom task is, and the way that we're going to do that is I'm going to click on the project ribbon, I'm going to do custom fields. So I'm going to, so you'll see that the task here is highlighted, so you've got resource here, and then you've got a number of different types of custom fields that you can generate, anything from text to date to number to durations, etc. So the first one, I'm going to use text. I'm going to use text1. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call this project name, and I'm going to click OK. Now I want a series of drop downs in this custom field, so I'm going to create a lookup. So the first one's going to be build a computer program. And apologies if you can hear some background noise, but I've got the aircon going here because here in Blighty in UK, it's 30 degrees at the moment, and it's going to get higher. So I've got the aircon on. My wife will moan at me based on the electricity bill, but I'm looking for comfort here. So we've done build a computer program. The next is going to be, so we're going to have 4 projects, which is going to be project A, B, C, and D. So let's put those in. Project A, return. Project B, project C, and finally project D. Those are going to be our 4 projects. And hit return. I'm then going to click close. The next thing I want to create is the milestones, so the milestone levels. So I'm going to use a number custom field here. So I'm going to do the drop down here, and I'm going to select number. And again, I'm going to use number 1. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call this milestone level, and click OK. Again, I want this to be a drop down, so I'm going to define some milestones. So the first one, which will always be the default value on a number field, is going to be 0. And I'm just going to put a description saying not a milestone. Yep, and hit return. The next one is going to be level 1, which is going to be our program level milestone. So again, I'm going to put program level, like so. And then last but not least, it's going to be level 2, which will be our project level milestone. Now, you can create as many levels as you want. I would advise, simple is best, so try and take a simple approach here. I mean, you could have level 3, which could represent your work packages, for example. But I'm going to stick to these 3 levels that I've created, 0, 1, and 2, for the purposes of this exercise. I'm then going to click close. Now, what I'm going to do here is I am going to click OK there, and now we need to insert these into the plan and add some values to them. So I'm going to right click on the task name, I'm going to do insert column, I'm going to type T for text, and there's our first custom column, text1, project name. I'm going to select that, just shrink it down. I'm then going to right click on the text name again, the task name, sorry, and do insert column, and I'm going to do N for number. So there's our number 1, our milestone level, and again I'm just going to shrink that width, double click on it. So here on the project name, so this is computer A, so this is project A, so I'm going to select that. I'm then going to do Shift, Control, and the down arrow to go all the way down. And then I'm going to do Control D, which is a shortcut, to then copy that down. Yeah, so fill it down. So there's Control D. So there's my project name against completed for all tasks in this project. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do milestones. Now, the thing about milestones is I don't want to have to go through all my tasks, so I'm going to use the filter functionality. So we do have a milestone filter. So I'm going to do View here, and I'm going to do milestone. And there you go. We've got a little less to look at here. So this one here is going to be a project level milestone. So if I do the drop down, you can see project level, which is 2. This is also a project level, so you can type 2 straight into there. That's going to be a project level. That's project level. But this one, when the computer's actually built and complete, that's going to be my program level. So I'm going to choose program level there. So I've now allocated levels to all the milestones. I'm going to remove that filter like so. So now we can see everything. It's starting on the, so let's move this across so we can see it's starting on the 14th of July and it finishes on the 10th. And again, I'm just going to do view here and do entire project so I can see it all in the Gantt view. So the last thing that I want to do here is I want to set a baseline here. So when we're moving things around through the leveling process, I can see what's going on and I can show you graphically what's going on in the Gantt view. And this is the tracking Gantt view that we're looking at here. Yeah. And remember, to get to the tracking Gantt view, it's over here, and you do tracking Gantt, or you can have Gantt view here as well. Okay. So that's Gantt view. So there's no differentiation. And this is tracking Gantt. So you can see that the red lines represent our critical path. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at baselining this so I can track the changes in here. So I'm going to do project ribbon and I'm going to do set baseline like so. And I'm going to do OK. So there's our baseline, and again I'm going to click save. So we've done the custom columns, we've done the milestone levels, we've set the baseline, we've set the start date, and then again remember within file and information, within the properties, the advanced properties, we set it to computer array project like so. So now that we've done that and we've saved it, I'm going to close that down. So there's my new computer there. So if I go to my Livestream and do projects, there's my build a new computer. And again, if I open that up, we've done. And obviously what I have done there is done one faux pas already, is I have within the actual shared documents that I've given you, this is why it's brilliant. So I'm going to take a copy of that, yeah, and I'm going to put it back in here as a master, because what I've done is I've overwritten the file that's on the Google Drive for you guys. Brilliant, schoolboy error. So what I'm going to do then is take this project file that I've just done, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put that back again. YouTube, and then hopefully, and I'm going to paste that and I replace it, and we should be good. And then we'll try again. So we'll go back to it, and I'm going to take this. That's hilarious. That is. Copy back into here, and I'm going to paste over it, and then hopefully I'm going to replace it. And let's just open that up, and it's got all the changes. And there you go. So that's the one. Yeah, I made the changes on the Google Drive version. So apologies for that. So now I'm back on track. So what I was going to say I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this. Yeah. Click. And let's call this computer A project, like so. And just so I don't confuse myself any further, I'm going to take that and I'm going to delete it because I don't want that there. Do yes, that's gone. Right. So now we want to use this as our template for our computer B, C, and D project. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully, I'll say this, hopefully I won't make any more errors. But there's no guarantee there. So let's get back to it. So I'm going to rename this one to be project B. Yeah. So get rid of that. Let's change that A to a B. Hit return. And we're going to open it up. And I'm going to change this to project B. Do shift control down and do control D. I'm then going to change all these so the tasks represent the project B project. So I'm going to do control F for find. I'm going to do replace. And what I'm going to do within the name, so this is the task name, yeah, within there, I'm going to find computer A and I'm going to replace it with computer B and replace all. And do OK and close that. So now that's all changed accordingly. So we can see that it's changed. And again, I say it's really important to, I can't overemphasize, make these tasks meaningful to the project so they mean something when they're aggregated at a program level. So we've now done that. I'm then going to go into File, Information, Project Information, Advanced Properties, and I'm going to change this Computer A project to Computer B. Like so, and click OK. So that's everything done. I've changed everything. I'm then going to do save and I'm going to close that down. And let's do the same for, let's do this one here and let's rename this to be Project C. Yeah, obviously if this wasn't a live recording, I could cut the mistake I made out earlier. But anyway, and I could speed this up as well. So, so again, I want this to be C. I'm going to do Shift Control down, do Control D to copy that down. Again here, I'm going to do Control F to find, click Replace. So I'm searching for Computer A. Hopefully you're following along here. I'm going to go computer, and we want this to be computer C. I'm going to replace all, OK. I'm going to close that down, so that's all done, that's changed. So now let's do File, Info, Advanced Properties, and change that to a C. Click OK. And I'm going to do save. Right, got the last one, which is the D project. I'm going to close that down. So here's the last one. So we've got A, B, C, and this one will be D. Let's rename it. Return, let's open that up and make the changes like we've done before. So again, so this is going to be D. I'm going to do Shift, Control key, the down arrow, then Control D to just paste that down, and then let's do Control F to bring up the find. I'm going to click Replace, and I'm going to look for Computer. Can't type here, people. Computer A, and I'm going to replace it with Computer D. Replace all, done, and I'm going to do close. Okay, so that's now done. Let's go to the last thing is go to information, the advanced properties, and I'm going to change this to a D here and click OK. Wonderful. So I'm going to hit save, close that down. So I've now got, if I just refresh my view there, I've got my 4 projects, A to D. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to create a resource pool. So I'm going to use a blank project file, and I'm going to hit project. Let's do a blank one. I don't want this on the view, so I'm going to untick that, and I'm going to change it to the resource sheet. So I'm going to do resource ribbon and click the resource sheet. I'm then going to save this, browse, and let's put it in the resource pool folder, and I'm going to call this resource pool, like so, and click save. So I've now got my resource pool. I'm going to go back to my folder here, and I'm going to select all these projects here, because the next thing I need to do here is I need to link all my project files to the resource pool to create that resource pool connection, and then we'll be able to see allocation across all 4 projects. So Jane will be able to see any problems with the resourcing, bottlenecks, etc. in one place. So I've got them all selected. I'm going to right click and then do open. So I've now got all the project files open, including the resource pool. I'm then going to go to the view and select the view ribbon here and select arrange all. So I've now got all my projects. So there's project A, B, C and D, and here's the resource pool. Now as I create the relationship with the resource pool, you watch what happens here within the resource pool. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select project A, like so, go to the resource ribbon, resource pool, and I'm going to do share resources here. So I'm going to select use resources, and I'm going to, from the drop down here, I'm going to select the resource pool, and the resource pool takes precedence. Yeah, so any changes, and what that means is if a project manager makes changes in their resource sheet, it won't overwrite the resource pool. However, you can make changes in the resource pool and it will be then reflected in all linked projects. Yeah, so I'm going to use that and click OK. Now watch what happens here. And there you go, it's pulled those resources into here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, as a habit, hit save, select the resource pool and hit save again here. I'm then going to do project B, and again watch what happens as far as allocation as we start to create those relationships. So I've got project B selected, on the resource ribbon again, resource pool, share resources, use those resources. I'm going to do the drop down and select resource pool and click OK. And Gary's now become over allocated. I'm going to hit save. Again, the resource pool, I'm just going to hit save. You don't need to hit save every time. I just do it as a habit. So that's B. Let's do project C. Computer C, share resources. And again, select that resource pool. Click OK. Again, hit save. Save again, and then finally select Computer D project on the resource ribbon, share resources, and I am going to select, and it's defaulted to the resource pool here, as you can see, and I'm going to click OK. Now, so that's done. They're all, as you can see, okay. I'm going to hit save again, and I'm going to do resource pool, and I'm going to do save again there. Now that we've done that, we've now linked all the project files to the resource pool. We now need to look at how we create the integrated project plan using master schedule functionality. And I guess you're all thinking, oh, if you've got loads of projects, this is going to take forever to create that program plan. It can be done in seconds, and I'm going to show you how. So watch. So what I'm going to do is on the view here, so with them all still open, like so, I'm going to do new window. Watch. It happens quite quick. New. I'm going to select the projects that I want. So I want A to D. I don't want the resource pool. And the view that I want it to default to in the IPP is going to be the tracking game. So I'm going to do the drop down and choose tracking Gantt there, like so, and then click OK. Here we go. It's going to take a long time, people. I've just done it. There you go. I've now created my master schedule file. I've got all the projects now in one place. Easy, wasn't it? Again, if I just do view, entire project, you can see all the projects. Now you can see where it's called it computer A there. And if I just do, select everything, do outline level 1, you can see we've got computer A project, we've got computer B project, C and D. Now, if we hadn't changed those properties, it would have said new computer build, and you wouldn't have known which ones were which, unless you expanded them. So by changing that information in the advanced properties, it's automatically labeled it when we brought it into the master schedule. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to hit save, and again I'm going to browse. I'm going to go to my, and I'm going to save it in my IPP folder, and I'm going to call it IPP, which is short for Integrated Program Plan. And I'm going to hit save. It'll ask me, do you want us to save changes to computer A, B, C, and the resource pool? I'm just going to say yes to all, and it's done. I've now saved my IPP. So the next thing is I want to label program level activities. So first of all, I better create some. So I want this all to be part of the program plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select computer A here at the top. I'm going to do insert, and I'm going to call this build a computer program. So this is what everything's going to fall under as far as that program. I also want a milestone that represents the end of my program. So I'm going to now select below the last task here, the last grouping here, computer D, and I'm going to put when build a computer program is complete. Boom, and that's going to be 0 again for milestone, so make that a 0D, so it recognizes it as a milestone. And the thing that I want to do is I want this milestone to be driven by the project plans. But I'm not going to create the relationship yet. What I want to do is make sure that I've created and made sure that these, by selecting them all, I'm then going to write on the task ribbon, indent them, so they are all now part of build a computer program. Yeah, so that's my parent task for all my projects. Yeah, and we've got when build a computer program is complete. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these and let's do view and let's do outline level 4. Yeah, that gives me the relevant level. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shrink them down again. Yeah. So I've got them shrunk down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a relationship, a dependency. Now, the thing you'll ask is, these are physical project files that exist in their own right. How do I create a dependency with them so I can then drive my program level milestone where I'm saying it's complete? Well, it's simple. You can create cross-project dependencies within your master schedule file, and they will impact the other projects. So for example, I'm going to do it for when build a computer program is complete and drive it off these projects. So I'm going to expand the first one. Now the dependency won't appear like a typical number. What it'll do, because you'll notice, is that these task numbers, ID numbers, are all repeated. Now within MS Project you do have a unique ID number, which is always unique, but this ID number we're seeing here visibly, you'll see it's repeating. Yeah. So and if I just expand that one there, you can see 1, 2, 9 and so on. You can see it's repeated there as well. So the way that I can't typically just type in a dependency 4, 3 and 2 like we did in a single project file, is where I'm getting. So what you need to do is, if I want this to be driven from when the computer assembly is complete on the project A is I select that, hold down my control key, select my computer program milestone there, and then on the task ribbon I'm going to select the chain. I'm going to link it, this link here, and you'll see here if I put my cursor in there, it's now created a dependency with the file path of the project plan and then the ID number there. So let's do the same for computer B. So again, I'm just going to select that milestone, hold down the control key, then I'm going to do the chain and link them. And if I just look, you'll see there's the path, there's the ID, you then got comma, the next path and the next ID there, right? So let's do it for C and D. So I'm going to expand computer C, select when the computer C assembly is complete, hold down the control key, select my program milestone, and again on the task ribbon select the chain, the link icon there, and shrink that one down, and then finally let's do computer D, select that and control key, select the program level and then do the link. Now you probably hear you thinking, well, why did he select these and do outline on the view, do outline level, what was it, 3 or outline level 4 should I say, and then shrink them all down, and then, well, the reason being is if I just take it and then do outline level and we do, let's do 8, yeah. If I shrink that down now, and so I was doing that exercise again and I open it up, it'll open everything up. So I was just setting a summarized view or a summarized outline basically, just to make life easier for myself. So let's do that again, outline level 4. We can see everything is in place. Again, I'm going to do on the view, do entire project so I can see everything. That now all looks great. So now I need to identify, using those custom columns, I need to identify my program level, my project name and milestone level for that program. So let's just put this to outline level 1, build a computer. And let's do outline level 2 actually, so I can see the milestone there. Let's do right click and do insert and do, remember it was text 1. Well, wait a minute, I can't see the customization in this project file. So if you remember before in the previous, in the project files, is that we did it for computer A, we use it as a template, and then so it would always exist. So how do you get customized columns that you've created in a project file, one project file, into another? Well, let me show you. So let me just do escape there. So I'm going to do, and again I'm just going to keep hitting save and say yes to all here, and I'm going to go File, Info, and I'm going to use the organizer here, and I'm going to select organizer. I'm going to go to the Fields tab, and I'm going to select one of the open project files. So when you open up the IPP, you're opening all the individual project files. So if I select, so the global.mpt file, in short, is your base template that's on your local machine. Yeah, we're not going to change that. We're going to use computer A, and there you can see the 2 custom columns. So I'm just going to select both of those and then copy that across to our IPP file here and do copy. And I'm going to close that down. Let's go back, and now when I do right click and do insert and do T, there's our custom column now. So I'm going to do that again, shrink it again, right click on task name, do insert column, do N for number, and there's our milestone level, and again shrink that down. So this is going to be my build a computer level, this is going to be build a computer level, that there is going to be a program level milestone, and these are all related to our project. So I'm going to do project A, project B, project C, and then finally project D. Done. And then I'm going to hit save. So I've now gone through here and I've labeled all our projects. So when I'm doing any kind of MI or filtering, I can use those custom columns to help me filter that view so I can focus on what I want to see. Now, one thing here is that if I go into here, if I do insert here, and I'm going to insert another column called priority. So I'm going to do P for priority, and I'm going to select this. So there's the priority column. Now, as you can see here, if I then just do outline level 4 again, we can see how the priorities have been allocated to the projects. Now, if I do save there and do yes to all, let's just close that down. And again, I'll ask me, I just get into the habit of saying yes to all the time. If I open up, so these 2 projects are our priority. We don't want anything as far as, we've got to focus on getting these done first. Then we need to make sure we've been told in our meeting we've got to get the project D, because there's a nuance to project D that we've got to get that done first. And then project C is the lower level of priority. So let's open up project D and just say yes to open up the other file. So it's opening up the shared files. You can also now see the program level milestone now appears slightly grayed there in your project plan, so you can see how things impact that. I'm going to go to project ribbon, do project information, and here on the priority, so this is D, so it's not as high level as A and B, so I'm going to lower that to 400. So remember, I don't know if I explained, but the higher the priority, the number, the higher the priority. So 1,000, if you put 1,000 in there, project won't touch it through leveling. And then the lowest priority is 0, so it's 1,000 to 0. So by setting that to 400, it's not as high priority as project A and B. It's the next priority down. So I've set that to 400 and done OK. If I then do save, and it's just asking me, do I want to update the shared file, i.e. the resource pool, and I do OK. And then I'm then going to take the project C. I'm going to do the same thing, but this is a lower priority. So I'm going to go project ribbon, project information, and I'm going to set this one to a lower number, which is 300, and do OK. Yeah? And click OK again. If I close that down, let's open up our integrated program plan. So as the PMO, me, Phil, the PMO, if I open that up, click OK, you can now see those changes have been brought through. So you can see project D's now got at the project level 400 there, and computer C is 300. And the rest are all 500, 500, 500. So before we look at the resourcing, there's one thing here is that I'm the PMO and I've been allocated 2 days a week. So how do I represent the PMO in here? Well, it's the same as the project manager. So I'm going to stick myself at the program level, supporting Jane Smith, our project manager. So 2 days a week is 40%. So I'm going to go resources, go to the resource sheet. Let's create another resource, me, Phil, baby, boo-boo. That's me. On work, I'm a PMO person. I'm £17 an hour. Again, I'm the same cost center. Remember, we use the code to represent our cost centers. I'm going to be saying cost center as Jane, so I'm going to do A, B, C. Boom, done. If I then go to task, Gantt view, tracking Gantt, what I'm going to do is do save, do yes to all. Yeah, just click OK to that. Let's go over to our resources, and I want to allocate me at the top level in the same way I did Jane. So I'm going to do drop down. Oh, wait a minute, I did add me as a resource. The reason why you can't see this is the place that we added that resource was in the resource pool. So we need to link the IPP also to the resource pool. So let's do that. So escape out of that. I'm going to do resources, resource pool, share resources, and again do the drop down, and I'm going to select the resource pool there and then click OK. And as if by magic, they all appear. Yeah. So if I go to the resource sheet here, and I just do me, Phil, let's call me my proper name, not Phil Baby Boo Boo. Some people do call me Phil Baby Boo Boo, by the way. Let me just do PMO, £17 an hour, and ABC, like so, and hit return. Yeah, I'm going to go to task. Let's go to the tracking Gantt. Now, hopefully, there I am. I'm going to select myself, and again, I'm just going to change that to 40% because that's 2 days a week. I'm going to do open bracket, do 40%, close that square bracket, hit return, get this little green icon like you do in Excel. I'm going to do just click the exclamation mark and select change amount of work, because we want to change the work and we want the duration of the task that's automatically calculated based on the movement in the plan to drive my workload and my allocation. Yeah. So now we've added me, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the IPP baseline. Now, when you're setting a baseline IPP level, i.e. master schedule level, it won't re-baseline the other projects. It's only baselining those tasks that have been created within the master schedule plan, or in this case, the IPP. So I'm going to do project, and I'm going to do set baseline and do OK. Okay. Now, let's just move this across here, and let's expand everything so you can see everything over here. So I'm going to do view, outline, all subtasks. I'm going to do it again, all subtasks, like so. And again, I'm going to make sure I can see the entire project, so I can see everything in here. So you can see where it's all baselined, but you can see all the over allocation here. Yeah. So let's look at leveling and how leveling works in MS Project, and let's do a few scenarios. So I think the first thing that I think we need to look at is I want to look at standard leveling. So what you know, and the different types of leveling that you can do in MS Project. So remember how we've set all these priorities, and I think somebody asked me in comments when I did the IPP, how do you do it at a work package level? Hopefully, me showing you this and looking at these different scenarios, it'll give you an idea of how you can do that. Yeah. So let's do resourcing. So we're over allocated, and remember, I said in the previous live streams, if you've got over allocated resources, it means the dates and that plan, that schedule is unachievable. Yeah, you must make sure it's achievable with the resources that you've got based on the capacity that you've got. Yeah, so that's key to me. So I'm going to do resource ribbon. I'm going to go to leveling options. I'm going to stick to hour by hour, and we're going to do the entire thing. So we're going to look at everything within project, and let's do the first one, ID only, and let's see what happens. So if I click level now, you can, and again I do view, let's do entire project. You can see how everything's been moved slightly in the project. See, it's moved everything because it's looked at just the ID and it's just done it in order of the ID fundamentally. There's been no preference or anything applied to it. Yeah, it's just done it by ID, task ID number. Yeah, and if I look at the project information and we go on to stats, you can see it's moved it slightly, but it's moved the two projects that we said we couldn't move, which is project A and project B. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to resourcing, and I'm going to clear the leveling and do entire project, and it puts everything back to the way it was. When I go into leveling options here, you can see that I've got clicked here clear leveling values before before leveling. So that I've got that ticked as a default. But again, as a habit, I just clear the leveling before I do any leveling, redo it again. Yeah. So let's look at now standard. So what does standard do? Well, let me have a sip of my espresso. Standard does a bit more than the ID. It considers dependencies, it can predecessors, and it considers slack when it's calculating the leveling of resources. So let's see what that does to our project. So I'm going to do level all, and again you can see it's left some things alone here on project A, but then it's starting to move things at the back end. And again, it's moved some things on project B, and we don't want anything to move on project B. And it's moved project C, and it's also moved stuff in project D as well. And again, really, we want project it to be more of a priority applied to those first two projects, and we want more of a priority applied to project D, yeah, over project C. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to do more focus on the priority. So again, let me clear the leveling. First of all, let's just look at what that did to the project. So do project information and do stats. And again, it's moved it slightly, but it's moved those two projects, and it's given project C priority over project D. So it's gone against the mandate that we've got. So I'm going to close that down, go back to the resource sheet and do clear leveling. And I'm going to do clear leveling for the entire project. So what I'm going to do now is, so these two projects, I'm going to do leveling, but this time instead of standard, I'm going to say do priority and standard. So let's see what goes on now. If I do level all, so now it's left, well, it's moved this project here on project B, yeah, but it's kept it fairly, but again, it's moved project P. Project C's moved quite a bit, and again, project D's moved as well. And if I look at the end date on project D, 10th of October, if I look at project C, it's the 29th of October. So it's worked. Let's see if we can then give project even some more information at the lower level. So think about your work packages that you might want to prioritize as well within a project. So if I clear the leveling again and do OK, let's see what happens if we leave project B, this one here. I'm just going to scroll all the way down and set all the tasks within project C to 300. Do Control D to paste that down. So I've set all the tasks to 300 priority, and then on project D, I'm going to put that down and do Control down. So I've set the priority on that. I'm going to do save and do yes to all, and do OK. And then let's go to leveling again. Leveling options, and let's do again by priority and standard, yeah, and do level all. And it crashed. Let's open it up again, see what happened there. Do OK. Clearly didn't like that. My computer complained. I must be overworking it, mustn't I? So if I do again, go back to resourcing, do leveling options, so everything's there that we saved. So remember, prioritizing this one over project C. And again, I'm just going to clear leveling, make sure it's all clean. Do leveling options, and I'm going to do level all. Now, didn't crash that time, which is good. So you can see now it's moved project C to, so project C has now been moved. And has it made much of a difference? I think you can see the end dates of project D are the same as they were before. It's just the way it's reorganized the task is probably a little bit more pronounced based on the priority. Yeah. So that's leveling. You can see how it impacts, and again, I can't re-emphasize that you can't replace the experience of a project manager and the SMEs and the team members when you're doing your leveling. Try and think about that as much as possible. But project can help, and and it can help you prioritize work and certain projects over another. So now that we've done that, I'm just going to hit save there and do yes to all and do OK on the central resource pool. Again, on the view, I'm just going to make sure I can see everything here, and I'm going to do entire project. Let's look at reporting. How do we use this information in here? So before I do the reporting, I want to create some custom group by and custom filters to help with the reporting based on the custom columns that we've done. So one of the first ones that I want to do is I want to look at how I group information based on this project name here. So I'm going to go, so I'm in the Gantt view still, and I'm going to do the drop down on the view ribbon, and I'm going to do more, in fact, not filters, group by, sorry. I'm going to do more groups. In fact, I'm just going to do create a new group. I've got hiccups then. New group. I'm going to call this by IPP projects. Yeah. The field that I'm going to group by is going to be my custom field, which is text 1 or project name, and it's going to be ascending. Yeah. I'm going to make sure it's visible in the menu. I'm not going to apply it. I'm just going to hit save. So that's my custom group that I've created. The next thing I want to create is a couple of filters. So I want to make sure that I'm only looking at program level milestones. So up and coming milestones in an overview. So if you remember in the when we built the project plan, we created a project overview. I'm going to do the same thing, but I want to filter it so we're only seeing program level up and coming milestones. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to go to the filter and I'm going to do more filters, and I'm going to look for up and coming. So up and coming milestones, which is the filter there. So there's that. So up and coming milestones, I'm going to do copy, and I'm going to call it my IPP, up and coming milestones. Yeah. And then all I'm going to do here on the up and coming milestones is I'm going to, and again I want it visible in the menu. I'm then going to add another set of criteria, which is and. So you can do and or. I'm going to do and this is where I'm going to take again text. I'm going to take the number field, the milestone level, and I'm going to say is I'm just going to go is equals program level. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking for. So milestone level, and again I'm going to do save. I'm not going to apply it, and I'm going to click close. And then I think the next thing I want to do is I just want to filter on active tasks. So I don't want to see this appear anywhere in any of my charts. So again, I'm going to do another filter. And I think I've already done some of this. So let's do more filters. If I've got copy of active tasks, to edit that, I think something I already started doing. Yeah, I must have done it when I was practicing. So let's call this my IPP active tasks. So basically I've done an and statement there, project name, yeah, and does not equal build a computer program in that project name, yeah. So project name, which is a text field, custom text field, does not equal, and there I've just said, right, from the select down, doesn't equal that selection, that lookup. And again, I'm going to get it to save, like so. I'm not going to apply it, I just want it for my report, and I'm going to do close. Next thing I'm going to do is on my, I'm going to set my status date, because remember status date drives everything. So I'm going to go project, I'm going to do here on status date, and I'm going to set my status date to be the 18th. So the project's starting on the 14th program, so I'm going to set my status date to the 18th. Yeah, and do OK. Again, I'm going to right click here, do grid lines. It's Go down to status date. Let's get that and do green. And do OK. So there's my status date there now showing, yeah? OK, so I've got my status date. So let's now look at doing a report. So let me get my mug off the screen here. Let's do main screen. Let's do, again, I'm just going to hit save here, by the way. Yes to all. So let's go to reports. And let's do dashboards. And let's do project overview. And we can see we've got all these milestones here. So first of all, I want to save this as a custom report. So I'm going to select manage. I'm going to rename the report and I'm going to call it my program overview and click OK. I'm going to change this text here to IPP overview. Great. Now, looking at these milestones here, so remember we created those filters. So I'm going to select this visual here. So again, for those who have used Power BI, it's a bit like that. You select the visual and you can then do the properties, add the columns, add the filters and things like that. Like in Power BI, it's all Microsoft after all. So I want to get rid of all the lower level milestones. So I've got this selected, and over here on the right, instead of up and coming milestones, I'm going to select my IPP up and coming milestones. I'm going to select that. And now I can just see the program level milestones. Perfect. That's what I wanted. Now I want to add a little bit more information here. I want to see if there's a variance against the milestone, if I need to be worried, a finished variance. So I'm going to add another column on here. So again, with this selected, over on the right, I'm going to go over to our duration category here. And I'm going to add finish variance there, like so. So I've now got the milestone, the finish date, and if there's a variance against it, so I can see if it's going to be late or whether it's going to be early. I think is really useful. Now this view here, again, is not really helping me. I want to see by the computer projects. So this is where the group by comes in really useful here. So again, with this selected, over here on the filter, I'm going to select group by, and I'm going to select by IPP projects. And now it's filtering on my projects, but I don't want the build a computer program in there. So again, I'm going to use take the filter active tasks, and I'm going to replace that with our my IPP active tasks. And now we've just got the projects. Yeah. Now we know things should have started based on that status date. When we look at our previous live streams, when we built that plan, we used the status date, and we should see a bunch of tasks that should have started. And the reason being is, and this is something you have to bear in mind logistically when you're managing it and within your planning standards and your governance process, is that your project managers have to update their status date in line with the governance and the central governance. So the reason why we're not seeing any tasks late here, so if I just do save here and do yes to all again, so if I go, I've got to go into the project plans here, and I'm going to do OK. And let's go to projects. I've got to set the status date within the projects. I'm going to open up project A, just say yes to everything. I'm going to do project, set the status date to the 18th, which is this governance reporting. And again, I just can't overemphasize, make sure that you do appropriate workshops around your governance and how to, appropriate, easy to follow guides with your project managers or the PMOs that are in that PMO hub and spoke model maybe within your organisation. Just make sure they're aware of what they've got to do and when they've got to do it. So you need to set the status date accordingly in each individual project plan in line with the governance. I'm going to click OK on that one. I'm going to do save. Here it's just asking me, do you want to update the central resource pool? I'm going to go yeah. Why wouldn't I? Let's do computer B. Again, you can choose not to open that up because we're not doing anything around activities that's going to impact the resource pool. I'm just setting the status date. So I'm going to click OK there. And again, on the project ribbon, set the status date to the 18th of July and click OK. And then I'm going to save that. Let's do project C. 18th of July, click OK. And then project D. Project information, status date, and set it to the 18th and click OK and save. So if I close that down now and we go back to our IPP and open it up and do OK, you can now see it's showing all the tasks that should have been done. Now again, in this task list, I can, if I want to, if I just want to see a bit more information in here, yeah, is I can add information in here as far as my custom. So if I just shrink these down and we look at custom, you've got all the custom duration stuff here. So I'm just going to shrink these down for a second. Yeah. I do all the fields. Is that you can add your different task names and IDs, etc., to incorporate the project name here. So now, where does it appear is the question. Is it going to be work? No, it's not. It's definitely going to be one custom, you got duration, slack, finish. I don't want that one. Duration, is it going to be, it's not going to be others. Let's do custom. Yes, you might have known it, it's in others. So if I go to task 1, project name, there you go, found it eventually. So project name, and there you go. So I've now added project name in there, and it's now within there. If I just look at where it is, I'm going to move that to the top. Yeah. And it's now, so you got the name, you got the project. In fact, let's move it one more. Boom. So now I've got it, project, the project name and the information. Great. And the allocated resources, yeah? So now, how do you update progress? How does this work when updating progress and slippage? Well, the beauty of this, so let me just do save here and do yes to all. Yeah. So if I go to and do OK, let's take the scenario where we take the, and I'll close that down. Let's go to, let's create a new folder. So say, for example, Project Manager A, Project A have their own local folder. They can take a copy. Once all this setup has been done, and I must emphasize, once the setup has been done and you go live and you operationalize your IPP process, is they can copy the project like so. I can paste that down locally, for example. I can open that project up. Yeah, and then as a project manager, I can make updates to that project. Yeah, so I can make updates to it. So based on that, I emphasize the setup. So the thing that we've got to do first of all is I'm going to delete that, because one thing I noticed there is that we've got a load of overallocation. So let's go back to our live stream, back to our IPP. I'm going to do OK there. So I've got everything that I want so far, and I am going to go to my Gantt chart, tracking Gantt, and just looking at everything there. Everything's there is fine. and we've done all our leveling as we need to. So I'm going to do save, yes to all. Just going to close that down, make sure the central resource pool's done. I'm then going to go to the individual project A, project mode. I'm going to copy that. So we've done all our setup. Project A, I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to open it up. I'm just going to leave it like so, and I am just going to go in here and do project, update the project, and I'm going to say update it as scheduled. Yeah, I'm going to do OK. So it's now updated my activity. I'm going to do save. I'm going to close that down. I'm then going to copy that, go back to my central repository, and say you do this on a weekly basis, and I'm going to paste that in, and I'm going to overwrite the existing file. If I go back to my IPP and open that up now and do OK, you can see it's now recorded all the updates that I did in that individual project. Yeah. Now you can do it if you want. So as a PMO, I could do it essentially from here. So I could, by selecting everything, yeah, I can then go to project information, do update project, and I can say for selected, not for the entire project. So again, at IPP level, if you're doing progress update a project just for the entire project, it will only do those tasks that have been created within your master schedule, i.e. IPP. So you have to choose the option selected tasks with them all selected, and then I'm just saying update them all as on schedule and do OK. So now it's updated everything within my project plan, like so. And again, if I then go to my reporting, so if I do my dashboards, you've got project overview, and I've still got the same thing there, right? But if I go back to my Gantt chart here, if I go to reporting and I do custom, and I select my program overview, there's my program overview, and now you can start to see some information. There's nothing late. We've started everything that we forecasted to start, and we can see how we're progressing against the individual projects there as far as percentage complete. So that's just an example how you can use some of the custom fields to help with your reporting. Now, I did mention as a lead up that you can do earned value. Project does earned value analysis. So let me show you the earned value report. So if I go to reports here and do costs and do earned value report, here's our earned value report here. So let's just change this here so it makes a little bit more sense, because you just got the year there. So if I select that and I'm going to do edit here and select category, and I'm going to change the date format to be just a little bit shorter, so 26 Jan, and do OK, and there you go. That looks a bit more. Let's do the same for this one. Edit, down Jan, and do the final one that we got down here. Again, do edit and Jan. So earned value analysis, what is earned value analysis? So fundamentally you have indicators. So you have cost performance indicators and you have schedule performance indicators. And fundamentally what you're trying to ascertain is, are you going to deliver this project for less cost, or are you going to deliver it for the baseline cost that you predicted, or is it going to cost you more? And from a schedule perspective, a schedule performance indicator, what you're asking is, am I going to deliver it early, am I going to deliver it on time, or am I going to deliver it late? And that's what earned value analysis gives you. And project, you don't have to set anything up in project, it does it automatically. All that you need is a baseline and your status date, and to be updating your progress on regular intervals, and project will do the rest for you. And as far as your earned value here, you can see, and if I make this a little bit bigger so we can see, value analysis. Yeah. So just looking at this over here, as you can see, well, what this is telling us is that we've got actuals work complete. So this is the actual cost of work completed. So is it higher than your earned value, which is this orange line here? Yeah. So is higher than your earned value, which is the budgeted cost of work completed, then the project will be over budget. So this is telling us at the moment, based on your actual and your budget, your actual is behind the actual orange line. So you cost-wise, we're bang on as far as this is concerned. If we scroll down to the next, so this is variance over time. And what this is telling you, so you've got your cost variance and your schedule variance. And again, it's saying here, so if you read this, the cost and schedule variances. So if the CV is negative, in negative value here, so it is slightly negative, then your project, it's saying your project is over budget. If your CV is positive, then your project, or your SV, if your SV is positive, then your project is behind schedule. So at the moment, the schedule variance is negative. So it's saying it's going to cost a little more. Remember, we've got certain projects where their daily rate goes up, so from the previous live streams. So if we're pushing those activities out, it means they're going to be at a higher cost. So that's why our cost is going to be slightly higher. And then the final one, this is where we look at our performance indicators. So we've got our scheduled performance indicator and our cost performance indicator. And fundamentally, the higher the number, the more on target, or the more you're going to deliver it for less money, or the more that you are going to, or the earlier you're going to deliver it. Now you can see that we're below 1 on both. So it's giving us some warnings. But this is early, and this will build up over time as we report progress. So again, if I go into here and I was to set the status state for the projects again, so let me just do that again. So if I do say here and do yes to all, let's just see what that does to our value. So if I go into projects, let's just move everything to the next. So I'm going to do just open this one up on its own. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the project status date. And let's say we've done no work on the project. So I'm going to set these to the 25th, to OK. I'm going to update. I'm going to reschedule everything to after the status date. Yeah, so I'm going to do boom. I'm going to save that. No one's doing any work. Yeah. If I go onto here, again do OK. If I again do project, let's set this to the next Friday. In fact, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, right, everything's on schedule. Save it. Yeah, do OK. And then let's take C, sorry. Let's do that one and do OK. And I am going to do project information. Let's do the status date. Let's set this to the 25th and do OK. This one, I'm going to update the entire project. Let's say reschedule everything to after the status date. Save that, close it down, and then let's do D. And let's set status date to 25th. Do OK. I'm going to update the project, and let's update everything as being on schedule and do OK. Now, if I then go back to my IPP, let's open that up, do OK. So now you can start to see things are starting to change on the earned value here. If I scroll down, you can see it's starting to produce things. Now, what I need to do is in the IPP is I need to go to project. So let's just go back to the Gantt chart. There's one thing I've not done. Oh, tracking Gantt. project, I need to set the status date here to be the 25th as well. So we're all on the same page. Save. You can see now I'm starting to get over allocations based on activities moving. It's having an impact on my projects. So again, there's going to be conversations that need to be had here. If I go to the reporting, let's look at the custom program overview. I can see there's some things late. I can see where we're at on the different projects. I can see some more variances against my program level milestones. I can see that impact there. If I go report, let's do cost, let's do earn value. And again, you can now start to see how things are looking as far as my earn value analysis is concerned. And what's going on. Yeah. So again, that they're below. So my schedule is definitely below the 1. It's not higher the number, so it looks like we are going to deliver this project late. The CPI here, as far as the cost performance indicator again. So things are telling us that we are, we've got some problems in our program in the early days. So some work that needs to be done to do some crunching around this. Now, let's look at earned value breakdown. So, and I think that'd probably be better to look at. So if I just save that, again, save yes to all. So we've got problems with our resourcing, we've got over allocations. If I go into one of the individual projects, let's look at project A here. I'm just going to open that up as its own. Now, within project, you've also got various different earned value views within here, this information, this table view here. And what you can do is you go to your view and do tables, and I can look at more tables. So I can look at earned value here. So if I do earned value and click apply, I've now got earned value analysis, and fundamentally anything that's got a negative means we're either going to be over schedule, either we're going to be late, or we're going to be we're going to have a problem with cost here. So you can see our estimate at completion, we're going to have a variance of nearly £8,000 there against this project, yeah. And I can look at that view from even from if I do more tables, let's look at it from a cost indicator and do apply. So now I've got my cost performance indicator here as well overall, and you can see what that's saying to me as well, yeah. And again, you can put your things over here and it'll tell you information about what that is. Now, if you want to know more about earned value analysis and how it calculates, and even build an Excel template how to do earned value analysis, then let me know in the comments and I'll do a separate video where we will focus on how earned value analysis calculates, break down the different things from what is earned value, what's a cost what's the cost value, what's the cost performance indicator, how is it calculated, etc. And talk about versus your earned value, your budgeted cost, your planned cost, and your actual cost, and things like that, and how it calculates all those things using an analogy of a brick wall. We're building a brick wall and the associated material costs, etc. If you want to know how to do that and understand earned value analysis a bit more, then let me know in the comments and I'll do a separate video on that one, or even a separate live stream. So that is an introduction to so let me just close that down. I'm not going to save it. Let's go back to the IPP. And let's go back to our tracking Gantt. And I'm just going to do view. Let's do outline level 4. Let's make sure we can see the entire project. And if I do outline level 1, in fact I want outline level 2. At a snap, I can see where we're at in the Gantt view. And also I can see this is when it was baselined, this is when we're now going to we can complete it. Now the thing about baselining, again, if I baseline at this level, it will only do the IPP, it will not touch the individual files. If we're going to do a re-baseline against our projects, then each one needs to be done separately. So just bear that in mind. So that is how you create an integrated project plan using the master schedule functionality. Now, I hope you found that informative, and apologies for the little faux pas before. Schoolboy errors. As I say, every day is a school day, and I am learning this live stream stuff. And I've also got another handicap because I'm a man. I can't multitask, so I'm trying to multitask as well. I'm making a lot of excuses, but I hope you found that informative. If so, please remember to click that like, subscribe, and smash that notifications button for future content. And as always, I wish you an absolutely wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Please take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video from Change, Tips and Tools. Bye bye now.